Okay, so good morning. Thanks everybody for coming here today. Okay, my name is Marc Martinez. Okay, me together with the rest of my colleagues will be the ones carrying out, let's say, the meeting or the webinar today. Okay, well, as I already said before, just for the ones that were not here. Okay, in case you have any question or whatever, just write your questions in the questions and our chat, okay? And then at the end of the meeting, we will proceed to ask as many questions as possible. Otherwise, keep in mind that you also have our email addresses, okay, in the call manual in order to ask to us any question that you can have by email, okay? Thanks a lot. So accordingly, I will proceed to start with the presentation. Okay. So today here we are just to explain, let's say, the guidance rules of participation and evaluation process, okay, referred to the call for proposals for academy and also for RIS education for the business plan 2023-2025. Let's say the estimated agenda today, I'm saying estimated because the time, let's say, is not fixed, okay, is the following, okay? The points that we will talk about will be about the general procedures, meaning which is the call calendar, then which is the evaluation procedure, in order to let you know how this evaluation procedure is working, and in order to be transparent and to provide you with as much information as possible. Then we will just go fastly to the financial aspects and cost eligibility, and finally, let's say, to the project implementation. After doing so, we will go to the questions and answers. Okay, so regarding the call calendar and the evaluation procedure, what you must keep in mind, okay, there are 5 phases, okay, that you must keep in mind, and 5 phases where we have already scheduled, also in the call manual, which is the first phase, which is the phase where the call is open, okay? As you already know, the call was open at the 28th of April, 2022, okay? And will be closed at the 28th of June, 2022 at 5 p.m. Central Europe time, okay? This is really important. So always remember that this 5 p.m. is not 5 plus 1, 5 plus 2 minutes. No, all proposals must be submitted no later than 5 p.m. at the 28th of June, Central Europe time. The second part of the evaluation process is the admissibility and eligibility check. I will talk about it in more detail later. Okay, which is important for you to keep in mind is that this admissibility and eligibility check will have, let's say, 3 outputs. The first output is when the project proposal is fully eligible. The second output is when the project proposal is ineligible, because let's say there's an important shortcoming that cannot be fixed. In any case, you will have the right to apply. And finally, to appeal, sorry. And finally, the third option, which is when there's a minor shortcoming, okay, in which case we will contact you informing that you will have a court period of 5 days in order to solve this issue. Okay, then we have the third part, which is the evaluation for all proposals that finally declared eligible. I will talk about it later. Then the fourth phase will be the communication and conditions clearing. Okay, we'll communicate the results to the applicants proposed for funding, and then we will provide them with the conditions clearing. If the conditions are addressed, okay, it will mean that the initially proposed proposals for funding will be finally selected for funding, and then we will inform about this final selection at the second half of September. So which are the main 5 phases of this evaluation process? So first of all, there is the admissibility and eligibility check. This process is done by the EIT Mobility Program Management Office. Okay, in this case, what we are checking, as you already know, are, let's say, the compliance of your project proposal with the 5 different, let's say, admissibility and eligibility issues that you have already appointed in your call manual. Okay, as I already said, there are, let's say, 3 outputs of this process. First of all, the request for correction, which is the court period, where you will have 5 days from receiving the communication to correct the issues that we are asking about. and then your proposal will be eligible. The second option, which is the communication on the ineligibility of project proposals. Okay, in this case is when there's not a minor shortcoming, but a shortcoming per se, which means that this issue cannot be corrected during the core period, and in this case, the proposal will be declared ineligible. In any case, you will be informed about it, and you will have the right to appeal, as is already explained in the annex of the call manual that you can find also in the IIT Mobility website. The second phase of the evaluation process is the quality evaluation. Okay, this quality evaluation is an external quality evaluation, which is carried out by 3 independent external evaluators, plus 1 rapporteur, plus 1 quality controller. In this quality evaluation, the 3 external experts evaluators will evaluate each project proposal. What it means? It means that each evaluation panel is integrated by these 3 external experts evaluator plus this rapporteur plus this quality controller. In this case, these 3 external expert evaluators will evaluate, let's say 3 times, meaning 1 time per evaluator, the project proposal. Okay. After doing so, the 3 evaluations from this project proposal will be sent to the rapporteur, who will be the one responsible to integrate the different comments and also to integrate, let's say, the different scores, okay, in the first draft of the summary evaluation report. After doing so, we will have the consensus meeting. Okay, in this consensus meeting, the rapporteur will be the one leading the consensus meeting, and the rapporteur, what will do is just to show the draft of the summary evaluation report, integrating the different comments from the different evaluators to the different evaluators, and then they will agree on the final score of each section of the project proposal. Okay, and specifically the final score that will be located in each section of the summary evaluation report, and will arrive to an agreement and will create the final summary evaluation report. This final summary evaluation report will be one of the documents that will be sent to you after, let's say, all the evaluation process in the final communication of the evaluation results. The second output of this consensus meeting is an evaluation results list, okay, that will be also published in our website. And finally, a call report that will be used during the portfolio selection by the selection committee members. Okay, the selection committee is an internal body that receives, let's say, a ranking list of the project proposals. Okay, and accordingly, what we do in the selection committee is that we are receiving, let's say, the double of the project proposals that will be selected for funding, okay, for ranking order, okay, and then the selection committee, what we'll do there is just to analyze which are the proposals to be selected and analyze how this, let's say, these top scored project proposals, okay, address the strategic issues and the strategic vision of the EIT Urban Mobility. After doing so, what we will do in the selection committee will be select the final proposals proposed for funding. Okay, the outputs of this portfolio selection will be, let's say, the portfolio selection, let's say the final proposals proposed for funding, generally with conditions, meaning that maybe there will be some issues that you will have to address. Finally, once you have addressed these issues and the proposals are already, let's say, selected for funding because all the issues and all the conditions have been agreed with you, then we will have, let's say, the final portfolio selection of proposals granted for funding. Okay, after doing so, what we will do is just to send a communication to the proposals that have been eligible and to the proposals that have been ineligible. In any case, the proposals that have been ineligible or declared ineligible and that have been rejected consequently will have the right to appeal. Okay, so the admissibility and eligibility check. As I said, there are 5 points that you must keep in mind. First of all, if the proposal is fully completed and submitted within the deadline. Okay, as I said, 5 p.m. of the 28th of June, Central Europe time, no later. Okay, as you can imagine, okay, the proposal must be submitted in Plaza, and finally, all the sections must be rated in English. Then the second point is the lead applicant eligibility. Okay, just be sure that your lead applicant is eligible according to the conditions defined in the call manual. Okay, then the partnership eligibility is also the same, okay? Remember that in all the project proposals, at least we may have 2 partners from 2 different countries. You can find more information in the call manual. Thirdly, the co-funding rate, okay? Be sure that your co-funding rate, okay, it's the 15%, sorry. This is important because this will be considered as an eligibility criteria, but also in any case, any co-funding which is above this 15% will be considered positively during the assessment portfolio, meaning during the portfolio selection carried out by the selection committee. So if you want to put, let's say, any amount above this 15%, this will be positively considered. And finally, the KPIs addressed, okay? Just check and be sure that you are addressing at least the minimum mandatory KPIs and also the minimum target of these mandatory KPIs as already explained in the call manual. Okay, this issue was already explained in detail yesterday by my colleague Daniela, so we will not go in further with it. And then regarding the evaluation process is divided in 2 phases. And this is important for you to keep in mind. Okay, when we are talking that the evaluation process is divided in 2 phases, it means that the evaluators will carry out the evaluation according to the first phase, which is the strategic fit evaluation, okay, which is, let's say, a qualifying phase, and then to the full proposal evaluation. Okay, this strategic fit evaluation is a qualifying phase because if the evaluator puts a score lower than a 3, okay, in any of the questions, of the 3 questions referred in this strategic fit evaluation, then the project proposal will not continue, okay, with the full evaluation process. Accordingly, my advice or our advice, which is just keep in mind that you are addressing within your project proposal, okay, all these 3 issues, okay, explain it here in the strategic fit evaluation criteria. You have all these criteria and you have all these 3 issues, okay, in the call manual. And in case you have any doubt, please don't hesitate to contact us by email. Sorry. Then once the proposal have passed, let's say, this first phase of strategic fit evaluation, then the evaluators will go to the full evaluation of the project proposal. Okay, this full evaluation, as most of you already know, is divided by 3 sections, which is the excellence and novelty. On the one hand, the second section, it's the impact, okay, the social, economic, financial, and general sustainability of your project proposal. And finally, the quality and efficiency of the implementation. Okay, this will be the 3 sections and the 3 criteria integrating the full evaluation. You have all detail on all the different questions and all the different issues that will be kept into consideration in each of these 3 sections in the call manual. So we don't need to go ahead in detail in each of them, but just keep that into consideration. After doing so, and this is important for you to keep in mind, okay, once the 3 external experts evaluators have carried out the evaluation, as I already said, and then the consensus meeting have been done, okay, the final summary evaluation report together with a ranking list and together with a call report will be sent to the selection committee. The selection committee will select the portfolio of preselected proposals considering also 3 factors. And in fact, and this is also an important thing to keep into consideration. First of all, the business intelligence. If there are issues or concerns highlighted by the external experts evaluators, meaning that if in the summary evaluation report of your project proposal, there's been, let's say, a shortcoming or a minor shortcoming, okay, this will be considered during the selection committee for the selection of the final proposals proposed for granting. Then also the track record, okay? The previous performance of the beneficiary entities, project milestones, demonstration, and outputs. What it means? It means that for sure we will not have a track record for the new entities, but for the entities previously participating in other projects at EIT Urban Mobility, okay, we will also keep into consideration which was your performance in the already granted project proposals. Thirdly, what we have will be the KPIs covered, okay, meaning that which are the EIT core and specific KPIs addressed and balance of these KPIs in view of the EIT Urban Mobility Strategic Agenda. What it means? It means that, as you can see in the call manual, as I already said, you have some mandatory KPIs. Okay, these mandatory KPIs are the KPIs that we will take into consideration during the admissibility and eligibility check. But however, if you are including additional KPIs or you are even increasing the target of the KPIs that are mandatory, beyond the mandatory target, this will be also a thing that will be considered positively, okay, during the portfolio selection. After doing so will be, as I already said, an additional criteria that will be the co-funding amount. If the co-funding rate is higher than the 15% that we requested as mandatory, then there will be a thing that will be highly and positively considered. So, an advice, read carefully the call manual. You have all the information there. So after the portfolio selection, there's a process of communication and conditions clearing. First of all, the lead applicant of the proposals selected for funding will receive the evaluation results, including, if applicable, a set of recommendations, conditions, and the legal package, okay, self-declarations to be signed by all partners of the consortium. The lead applicant of the pre-selected project proposal under conditions will need to respond and update the project proposal according to the recommendations conditions. Okay, keep in mind that one thing are recommendations and the other are conditions. This will be clearly defined, okay, in the letter that you will receive, okay, in order to differentiate it, meaning that you must address the conditions, but you can address recommendations. Okay, with a given deadline. Usually, the time that the lead applicant of the pre-selected project proposals with conditions to be addressed, okay, we'll have 15 days, let's say, to address these conditions. And during these 15 days, we will directly contact the lead applicant in order to clarify any doubt that he or she can have. Finally, within the deadline of the conditions cleared period, all partners involved in the consortium of a project proposal will need to provide the corresponding legal package duly signed. After doing so, once we will check that all project proposals proposed for funding has addressed the different conditions clearing and the different, let's say, conditions, then what we will do is just to finally select the portfolio of pre-selected project proposals. Okay, and then we will carry out, let's say, the final communication of the results to all applicants. Okay, to the ones with the proposals approved and to the ones with the proposals rejected. As I already said, and you can already find in the appealing process defined as an annex of the call manual within the EIT Urban Mobility website, you have the right of appealing. Okay, then the partner registration process. This is something important that you must keep into consideration. Okay, this is fast, this is clear, okay, but you must keep that in mind. First of all, in order to participate and to submit your project proposal, all applicants, okay, of a specific project proposal, meaning the lead partner, but also the rest of the consortium members, must be registered, okay, in the Funding and Tender Opportunities portal from the European Commission. Why? In order to obtain the PIC number, okay, which is the Participant Identification Code. Remember that to have this PIC number is mandatory for the access to funds, and it takes only 10 minutes. Okay, our advice, and this is important, don't wait until the last minute, okay, to do this registration. This is something fast. You have already information on how to do that in our guidelines for applicants, which is an additional annex to the call manual that you can have, that you can find in our website. Okay, but don't wait until the last minute. Once you will have this PIC number, you will have to register in Plaza. Okay, the place to register is the same place that you will have to access in order to submit your project proposal. Okay, you have to go to AXA and then you will have to follow the next steps, okay, that Plaza is asking to you. This is important to keep into consideration by the new entities, okay? To carry out, let's say, the registration in Plaza will take a maximum of 2 working days. So register your organization as soon as possible. Just in case you have any doubt, just in case Plaza is not correctly working, whatever, just don't wait until the last minute. In fact, the registrations are already open and will close 2 days before the deadline, meaning that all entities must be registered in Plaza no later than the 26th of June. Finally, and this is important, there will be the complete of the partner information form. As you will see, once you are registering your entity in Plaza, there will be different fields that must be, let's say, filled in. Please fill in all fields, okay? The country, your address, your city, the partner identification code obtained in the EU participant portal. Okay, fill in all this information, because otherwise your proposal will be declared ineligible and you will have to go to the cure period, okay, to complete your registration in Plaza. If after the cure period your registration is not completed, you will have a problem, because then the proposal will be declared ineligible. So accordingly, please don't wait until the last minute, and please fill in all the partner information form that you will have to fill in the registration of Plaza. All this information can be found, as I already said, in the guidelines for applicants document. Okay, then potentially, and this is a good thing, once your proposal, in case your proposal is selected for funding, which will be the next steps? You will have, for sure, a detailed guidelines on which are the things that you must follow. Also, you will have us, meaning the EIT Urban Mobility Project Officer for your projects within the kickoff meeting, okay, of the project selected for funding. You also have a specific activity implementation handbook. But in any case, just a summary, and just to advance you with some of the information. Okay, this is an example for a 12-month project that are the most of the projects that we are granting. So which is important for you to keep into consideration is that during the middle of the implementation of your project, you will have to present a midterm report. Okay, and this midterm report will be contrasted with, let's say, the initial project proposal management plan, meaning the initial planning of your project proposal, okay, in order to know which are the changes that have happened, okay, during the implementation of your project. Don't be afraid, because which is normal is that an innovation project is dynamic. Accordingly, if the innovation project is dynamic, which is important to keep into consideration, is the following. Everything can change, but please try to advise to your project officer about the change on this. Secondly, what we will do will be just to evaluate your midterm review, and then we will do the go and no-go assessment. Okay, don't be worried, okay? The most of the project proposals just receive a go, but this is the moment where we can help you in order, let's say, to solve any kind of mistake, any kind of problem, or any kind of deviation that you can have regarding money or regarding schedule. Finally, after the end of the project, meaning after the CABA finish, you will have 2 additional months, okay, to submit us the final reporting and assessment. Okay, monitoring and reporting. Okay, all project outputs, including the KPIs, must be achieved during the project lifecycle. This is important, okay? If you have a project of 12 months, you will see that Plaza allows you even to submit a deliverable in the month, in the year 24 or 25. Okay, this is because this is a business plan of 23, 24, and 25. However, all the outputs, KPIs, and deliverables must be located and must be submitted during the implementation of the project. If this cannot be achieved, the consortia can request, okay, this is also an important point. Once you have included that within, let's say, your project proposal, okay, and your project proposal have been granted, etc. Okay, the point is that during the implementation of your project, you can realize that you cannot achieve, let's say, the accomplishment of your deliverables, outputs, or KPIs, okay, during the implementation of the project. Accordingly, what you must do is that you have to contact with your project officer, which is important, and then you can ask in case it's necessary for a project extension. We will try to avoid this extension. Why? Because if the extension is approved, you will have allowed, let's say, to continue with implementation of your project proposal, but with any additional EIT funding, meaning that if we can solve and we can do the things on time, it will be better for us. This extension cannot finish later than 18 months from the start of the project, meaning that you will have, in case of extension, the extension cannot be higher, let's say, than 6 months for a 12 months project. Okay, then, and finally, useful links and contact details, okay, which here you have 3 contact links, 3 contact details. First of all, for the European participant portal, okay, where you will have to go in order to obtain your PIC number. Okay, here you have 2 different email addresses where you can go. Secondly, regarding Plaza, okay, in case you are registering in Plaza and you have a problem, in case you are submitting your project proposal and there's something that is not working, don't hesitate to contact the service desk, okay? The service desk for EIT Urban Mobility is only for Plaza issues. And finally, for anything related to the content of the call, related to the procedure, related to the, for example, any of the sections included within the evaluation criteria, okay, you can contact us, meaning us, the academy call at eiturbanmobility.eu or the PMO. Okay, and now is the time of questions and answers. Okay, don't go, don't leave the room, because after this first round of questions and answers, I will do, let's say, an in-live presentation, okay, on the main steps that you must follow in order to submit a project proposal in Plaza. Okay, so accordingly, first of all, let's see which are the different questions that we can have. Okay, let me check. Okay, it seems that there are no questions, so it seems that everything is really clear. Okay, just one thing that I would like to highlight. Okay, as I said, let's say the evaluation process, okay, will have two phases, but in this case, these 2 phases, okay, are phases that are not, let's say, qualifying between each other. Okay, in the case of the call for academy and the call for RIS education, all, let's say, project proposal will be evaluated. Okay, and all sections will be evaluated independently. Okay, then let's say you have a really low score in the strategic fit evaluation. However, what is important is that a low score within the strategic fit evaluation, okay, will mean that your proposal will be mostly, let's say, not selected for funding. So again, besides, we will go ahead with the evaluation of the 3 sections: strategic fit, excellence, implementation, and impact. Okay, just be sure that you are addressing correctly the 3 issues, okay, referred to the strategic fit evaluation, because the strategic fit evaluation is the strategic fit of your project proposal, as the name says, with the strategy of the EIT Urban Mobility. So accordingly, as there are no more questions, I'm going ahead and I will share the screen, okay, and I will make a presentation in live on how to work and how to submit a project proposal. Okay, once you will be registered in Plaza, you will have the possibility to access to Plaza. Okay, for sure, you will see here less buttons than I see. Why is it? Because one of the privileges that the people here in the EIT Mobility have is that we can deal with and we can handle with so many different things in Plaza. In your case, the life will be much easier. So in this case, for example, we will create a new proposal for Academy. So in this case, what have you do? You have to click on the call 2023-2025 for Academy. Okay, then here you have to put your email and your password. Okay, as you can see, there are some things that depends on the things indirect, meaning that life is like this. Just give me a second. Okay, just let's try. Okay, just give me a second, and I will try to handle it. So while I'm handling it, I will give the floor to my colleague Anne. Okay, in order you have any questions or whatever, and if you are so kind to just, let's say, explain a little bit more whatever I'm missing. Thank you.
Yes, I think, good morning, everybody. I think before we enter into Plaza, I will mainly repeat the message that Mark shared with you just some minutes ago, which is, please, you can already take a look at the website of the commission to create your PIC if your organization doesn't have any. Meaning that the organization never participate in an European project. If you already have the PIC, so it's good, you don't have to do this step, and you go to the second step, and the second step is Plaza. And Plaza, you already have the link in the call manual and also in the presentation of Mark today. Create your PIF, your code, starting from today. It's just a very straightforward process. And it will give you the possibility to then enter into Plaza and to start looking into the platform. As you can see, it might have some problems, some technical issues sometimes, so don't wait until the very end. So really do it since the very beginning, since starting from today. And we are here also to support you in case you have some technical issues and so or whatever. Okay.
Okay.
Mark, I don't know if you're ready.
Yeah. I'm ready.
Okay, super.
I will share my screen again. Okay. So thanks a lot, Anne. Okay, so I hope everybody is seeing my screen. So what I did, I just clicked here, okay, and this is important. I just click within the call 2023-2025, okay? And finally, what I did was just having access to here, okay? Here you can find, okay, the add new proposal, okay? So here you have to click, okay, in order to add your new proposal. Okay, the system will ask you, are you about to create a proposal? Do you want to continue? For sure. Sure, you can continue. There will be no problem on it. Okay, and also another point that you must keep into consideration, okay, is that once you will access, let's say, to this new application form, here you will have, let's say, different options, and also, which is important, different fields that you must keep in mind. What it means? It means that in this case, before, let's say, including all the information in the rest, okay, of the fields, you must fulfill the tab 0. Okay, the tab 0 is where you will indicate that you are going to submit a proposal for academy. Then here you have the execution period. Okay, in this case, this is something that you don't must to keep into consideration. Okay, this is something that will be automatically filled in once you have filled in the rest of the fields. Okay, here what we will do, for example, is to create a proposal for master school. Okay, then here we have the activity title. Okay, in this case we will put blank. Okay, the activity acronym blank. Then here you must select. Okay, and as you can see, you can select, let's say, from the 2nd of January, for example, for implementation, until and this is important, until, for example, the 23rd of December. Okay, in this case, December 23, we'll put 9. And then here, what you must do is just to include, as usual, okay, a description of your work, okay, which is important here. Okay, it's just you need to submit here an abstract, okay, and this abstract is important. Why? Because this will be the abstract that we will put in our website in order, let's say, not in our website, but will be the abstract that we will send to the European Commission according to your project, okay? And this will be also the first thing that, let's say, the evaluators will read. So try to do an abstract as, let's say, as interesting as possible. Then you just need to save it. Okay, as you can see, sometimes the system can take some time. Okay, this is not a problem. And finally, check and save. Okay, here intended execution period down the list. Okay, so in this case, for example, what we are doing here is just, for example, 2023, for example. Let's click it again. Okay, check and save. Okay, it seems that there's an error. Don't worry. Okay, it can happen. In case this happens, okay, don't worry about it. Okay, you can go ahead again. Okay, with the same situation. Just trying, for example, in this case, we were here, but we can go here, for example, or we can go, let's say, let's try again. So intended execution period. So, okay, in this case, we have a problem, okay, because in this case, the intended execution period that must appear in Plaza, okay, is not appearing, okay, meaning that in this case, we couldn't continue. Okay, in case this happens, what you will have is to contact us, okay, in order to let us know. Okay, now we will solve this issue, okay, for you. But which is important to keep into consideration is that you will not be able, let's say, to go ahead with the rest of the presentation of your project proposal. At least you have already filled in all the fields, okay, that must be filled in here, okay, in this, let's say, first step of the application form. Once this is filled in, you will be able to go to the rest of the issues. In order to continue, what we will do, because I want you to see how it works, okay, it's just to go ahead to an already created project proposal. In this case, let's say a test one that we created before, okay, just to show you, okay, how it works. This is a project proposal that we created for another area, but the point is that it's the same. Here you have the same information that you must fill in. Once you have, let's say, included this first tab, what you will have is access to the rest of the tabs, okay? So in this case, once you will have access to the rest of these tabs, it will be possible, okay, to fill it in, let's say, the activity title, okay, the different partners of the consortium, okay, to include them. Finally, here you will be able also to include other information, okay, as the activity website. As the activity will be new, you will not have the activity website. So after doing so, you will have to go to the activity overview, okay. In this activity overview, you will see here different information requested, okay. Which is important for you to take into consideration is that you can, I mean, all the information that must be provided is explained in the guidelines for applicants, is explained also in the call manual, but also, in case necessary, it can be also found here, okay. So here, you should have just to read, let's say, to click on the question mark, and you will see which is all the information that you must provide here. In this case, they say, please describe in a concise form what the activity intends to do, who is involved, etc. Okay, so this is an important thing to keep into consideration. Then keep also into consideration the maximum amount of characters that can be included there. Okay. And finally, which is important, it just keep into consideration what I said. Just remember to include at least the mandatory KPIs that you can find in the call manual. Okay, this is important because this will be also an admissibility and eligibility criteria. Once you have already filled it in correctly, okay, and you have everything correctly filled in, you will have to go to the activity specific info. In this case, it's important just to keep in mind that here you have two options. Okay, the first option is the keywords for European Commission, and then the activity specific questions. The activity specific questions are questions that are super clear, okay, that you must address. Okay, here, for example, which is the state of the art of the current, let's say, idea that you are proposing, etc. You will have a specific options for the academic call and also for the RIS education call. But which is important is just to identify some keywords, okay, referred to the project proposal. Once this section is done, you will have to go to the sustainability section. Okay, here in the sustainability section, you will have two different options. Okay, referred to, let's say, potential equity or potential amounts. Okay, of, let's say, of feedback of your proposal. In this case, keep in mind that we are talking in academy. So let's say the financial sustainability will not be one thing considered in an equal way that you can have in innovation or whatever, but which is important for you is to read carefully the guidelines for applicants, and in case you have any doubt on how to fill in or on how to, let's say, provide a feedback in any of the tabs, okay, just refer to us. Finally, you will have to go to budget, okay, which is important here, okay, specifically in the budget. What is that here you will have to include the different tasks, okay, that are integrated your working plan, okay. Why do you have to include these different tasks? Because these different tasks would be the ones that will allow you, okay, to include, let's say, the different, let's say, budgetary items that you can include in your project. What are we meaning? We are talking about personal cost, we are talking about travel costs, we are talking about consumables, we are talking about purchasing equipment, and when we are talking about purchasing, we are talking mainly about depreciation, because keep in mind that in the most of the cases, the equipment will be able to depreciate it. Okay, and when I'm talking about equipment, I'm talking also about software licenses. Okay, but this is something that you have fully detailedly explained within, let's say, our eligibility of expenditures annex that you can find also in our website. So here, which is important, is that also the system will ask you, okay, to provide, let's say, a budget justification. Okay, for example, in the case of personal, how many FTEs, okay, full-time employees are you requesting budget for? Then travel and subsistence, equipment, as I said, whatever. Keep also in mind, and this is really important, that the subcontracting financial item is an item that you should avoid as much as possible. This doesn't mean that you cannot provide the subcontracting amount. But the point is that, as you already said, as you already know, the subcontracting is something that must be, let's say, something just punctual, okay? Something that you must just need for a specific task that you cannot carry it out. But just remember that the subcontracting is just for activities that are not core activities of your project proposal, okay? Because otherwise you should need a new partner, not a subcontracting. But this is something that you can ask us, by email. And this is it, okay? Finally, you don't need to include here, for example, any other thing you will not see, okay? These tabs. Which is important for you is that what you will be able to attach is that you will be able to attach a document, meaning the project GAN, meaning the project pair, meaning whatever, okay, here at the end of the tab 3, okay? And that's it from my side. Okay, now what we are going to do is just to see if there are any additional questions. Okay. Okay, new question by Alessandro Tomasi. Okay. Is there an application template available to prepare the application outside Plaza? There are times where the platform is unfortunately unavailable. Yeah, you are right. And this is nice because it means that you already know how it works. Okay. But unfortunately, there's no, any application template besides Plaza. Okay, which is important is that we kindly recommend you to create the draft proposal as early as possible in the platform. There's another option, and this is an option that you can always use, that is just once you create your project proposal, what you can do is just, let's say, to save the tab 0, and then once you have all the rest of the tabs available, just to go out of your project proposal and then to print, let's say, the PDF that will appear empty, okay, but we'll let you, let's say, know which are the different fields that you can fill in, and then if you want, also keeping into consideration the maximum amount of characters, you can copy paste each of the titles, okay, and each of the sections, okay, in order, and this is important, in order to, let's say, start working in Word, for example, if this is more comfortable for you, then you can copy paste it. Another question, are these sections unlocked one at a time or unlock once? Okay, no, this is important to keep into consideration. Once you have already filled in all the data requested in the tab 0 in Plaza, okay, all the rest of the sections will be available. Which is important for you is just to remember that you must save, okay, each time that you want to save the information provided, and save and check and save once you want to close this section. In any case, you will be always available to include new information on this section. Okay, but the thing is that yes, tab 0 is the only one that must be filled in order to unblock the rest of the sections. What else? What else? Come on, don't be shy.
Mark, I just have one comment. I think I'm not sure if it was a question or a comment, but if an applicant would like to apply to a RIS education call, maybe we can show them where they can find the button in Plaza in the main page.
Sure.
And then the process will be the same, but because it's not located exactly where academic call for proposal is located, it's just right next to it, but just we can show maybe on the screen.
Yeah, sure.
Where is it?
Sure. Let me. Okay, give me just a second. Okay. So perfect. So I think that you can see my screen here. So here, where you can find the RIS education button. So in this case, it's even easier than to find the one here, which is also easy, which is RIS proposal, RIS education call. The only thing that you have to do is just to go here, to click here, and then you will be able, okay, to add a new project proposal. And let's say the system will be the same as before. In any case, remember that, okay? The RIS education call button and the call 2023-2025 academy button goes directly to the same place, which is the portfolio of project proposals, meaning that then you will arrive to the same place to add a new proposal, and it will be just once you have opened the new proposals and you have selected RIS and then RIS education, where you will have a specific proposal addressed to RIS or to academy. Okay. Okay, what else? Yeah, there were also, there was a comment from Roger Singleton. I think that the intended execution period is a common problem. Yeah, it's a problem that we already solved in other calls, okay, that we launched before, but no worries, because today the first thing that we will do after the meeting will be just to, let's say, to fix this issue. The point here is that, as you can imagine, as there's a new plan, 2023-2025, the application form is also new, and also the information, let's say, requested by Europe in this case, is also different from the last years. So that's why we have need to create, let's say, a new application form. And in this case, sometimes there are these small issues that we can solve whenever you need. Okay, in case you identify more issues, and I hope not, remember that you have to go to the service help desk, okay, email, and well, and we will fix it. So if there are no more questions, what we will do, and this is a question that some of the people have, for sure, we will share, okay, with you the presentation of today, the recording meeting of today, and also you can have more detailed information on what we have been talking today, okay, in the EIT Urban Mobility website, in the calls department, and specifically for the call for academy, and also for the call for RIS education. Okay, there you will find the call manual and all the different annexes linked to the call manual, the guidelines for applicants, the eligibility of expenditures, the activity implementation, the strategic agenda, etc., etc., etc. All the documents with all the information, okay, you may need to correctly fill in your project proposal. Okay, here in the chat, okay, my colleague and Laura have already pasted, okay, which is the link, okay, that you can follow, let's say, to go to Plaza, okay, and also the email that you must address, any issue with Plaza. Okay, I hope that the meeting today has been, let's say, useful for you. We are at your disposal in order to help you with anything you can need. Okay, and just remember to don't wait until the last minute. Thanks a lot for your time. Have a good day.